The agrarian community of Trio, a mixed population of about 200 Mayan and Hispanic families, sits near the northern tip of Toledo district. The village was established in the mid-90s when immigrants from neighboring Guatemala and Honduras, toiling in nearby banana farms, decided that they would settle on the land. This countryside location, however, fringes the Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve in an area known as the Maya Golden Landscape.
Actually, the Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve is sort of a sandwich between Blade Nature Reserve, Coxcomb Wildlife Sanctuary, and protective, uh, productive lands, I would say. The banana farms, the citrus farms, as you see coming up into this area. And it's also surrounded by four communities. We have San Pablo, Bella Vista, Trio, and Bladen Village.
These communities, all within proximity of each other, are dependent on shared natural resources, including land and water.
So we find ourselves in the Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve. More specifically, we're in this point here. We're on the dry riverbed of the Trio branch at this moment. During dry season, it is completely dry. As you can see, the Trio branch originates here in the Maya Mountains, and it joins the Bladen branch, which in its turn joins the Swayze branch here downstream to form what we know as the Monkey River. So this mountainous area here of the Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve, the Coxcomb Basin Wildlife Sanctuary, and the Bladen Nature Reserve is a really important water catchment area. It really soaks up the rain during rainy season, and it releases it slowly during dry season, so it's providing us with water throughout the whole year.
This natural occurrence makes the adjoining flatlands ideal for growing crops. However, its usage, primarily for agricultural purposes, has been unsustainable, prompting the Yakshe Conservation Trust to advocate for special privilege to allow farmers from Trio to work the land under strict guidelines.
We have been lobbying for the grant of this community forest concession via the communication with the Trio Farmers Cacao Growers Association. They had an interest in terms of accessing land to plant and to enhance their livelihoods, and we thought that this model of community forest concession could work really well in Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve. Hence the reason we started lobbying with the government to ensure that the Trio Farmers Cacao Growers Association get access to this acreage of land.
The expanse that has been designated for agronomic use is a 936-acre compass, though not all of it will be used for that sole purpose. What's unique about this location is that the organic cacao farms that are spread across the acreage are bounded on the east by individual plots that are being tilled unlawfully. The combination makes for an uneasy existence.
The issue we're facing here is the one of unplanned, unsustainable development on one side, and the one of planned, sustainable development on the other side, which I think it's an issue that affects this part of Belize in particular, but also Belize in general. So what we have done at Yakshe is we have used geographic information systems and satellite imagery to plan for sustainable development inside the forest reserve.
That eco-friendly approach has yielded positive results for the most part. Nonetheless, its proximity to other farmlands that are being cultivated illegally presents a difficult situation.
It calls attention from both forest department and lands department, because we not only have a situation with incursion happening, but we also have a situation with dereservation happening within the Maya Mountain North Forest Reserve. So it's very difficult, and we believe strongly that the illegal activities could be controlled within this area, but the organization alone cannot do it. It needs the strong communication between the lands department and the forest department to do something on the ground.
To get a first-hand perspective of the lay of the land, I've joined a team of 5 conservationists, including TFCGA chairman Isabel Rash. Together, we hike deep into the forest to witness the effects of what has been taking place here recently.
What we are seeing here right now is people from within the village chop here and burn here, but it's in the forest reserve, no? And without permission. And when they were ready to burn, they didn't inform me as a chairperson. They just came and light the fire. But again, and they didn't do any buffer. A buffer, not the fire would not escape, but they didn't do nothing for that. So it escaped and went in a concession where we had cacao, and we had 3 acres of cacao that was damaged and totally burned.
The loss of potential harvest is undoubtedly a setback for the 30 farmers who belong to the local association. The slash and burn system being employed by illegal farmers also affects the biodiversity of the reserve.
When you clear cut and you burn an area, you also have wildlife being displaced. You have wildlife moving from a certain area to another. Sometimes you may or may not have a complete extirpation of a species. The reserve itself is actually a really nice area for keystone species. You have jaguars within the area. We have the harpy eagle as well, which is quite an interesting species to have around here. It's been spotted within the concession, which is actually quite exciting. So in many ways, having these activities happening right next door to the concession, which is an effort to prevent kind of the decline of certain populations. When you have these things happening right next door, it kind of threatens the value of the reserve. It threatens the livelihoods of the farmers who are working here, and by extension also the wildlife population.
That impact is certainly being felt by the Trio Farmers Cacao Growers Association.
It affects us because in our side, in the concession side, we are doing agroforestry, and protecting the land, protecting the soil and the trees. So we are looking at the trees, the hardwood trees that we are saving. But in this case here now, with this burning now, it affects us because then with the burning, it affects the soil, and it brings grass to burn in the land, and the soil, it stay more harder because the amount of fire, the heat, then it affects the soil. So there's a big difference with the burning and doing agroforestry. So it's changed a lot, that the work that we are doing right now.
Yakshe, as well as the farmers of Trio Village, are seeking government's intervention in addressing this problem. We are told that the Ministry of Natural Resources has remained rather mute on the issue. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Kaetano.